Hello, and welcome to our first test overview. So we're going to be reviewing the very first assessment we did. I've just posted retake versions of all the assessments, including this one. And what you'll notice is the retake version for this looks a lot simpler. It's a lot more straightforward. I decided to really boil it down to the essentials. When we started this was meant to be a pretty exhaustive review, but I decided, you know what, we've done a lot of other stuff since then that uses these things, so I can really focus on just the essentials of it. However, for people who were really stumped on this one and really wanted to see it or really wanted the comprehensive review, I thought, let's at least go over it and so you can see it. And you'll be surprised at how fast it goes, okay? So for this review video, I'm not going to go super into the details or explanations or anything like super, comprehensive about like things like definitions, right? We have videos from the past to do that, and I will recommend you look through the rest of the YouTube channel and check those out. So for example, I'll talk about what a vertical angle is and show you which ones here are vertical angles, but I'm not going to go super into detail on how we know that or why we know that or what the real, super precise definition is. I'm just going to give the answers to this, okay? So if you want the real explanations behind the answers, like the really in-depth ones, the ones that you wanted to see given to me on a test, right? Then you're going to want to check out those previous videos. But I'll give you the answers, and I'll talk about, give you like the some justification for the answers that you would expect to see on a test, okay? So for example, corresponding angles, right? We had a whole video on correspondence and finding corresponding angles and things like that. So I'm going to use that definition we know from the past, that definition being angles that line up when translated along the transversal, right? So for all of these, I need to be looking somewhere, for most of them, right, for either parallel lines in a transversal or for angles that are meeting in a certain relationship around an intersection, right? So the parallel lines and transversal relationships, I need two parallel lines in a transversal. And for the ones that are about meeting at an intersection, right, I just need to have two lines meeting. So for corresponding angles, I need the two parallel lines in a transversal. So I'm going to look for those. These arrows here, that indicates a transversal, right? So I'm going to use that to my advantage. And I'm going to say I see, I want to go with like I, right? I is a good one. So now I need to find what corresponds to I. Well, going down the transversal, I would see E as a correspondence and A as a correspondence. So any of those would be corresponding to each other. Why is that? Well, if I look at any two pairs of the parallel lines, right, they're both like on the right side of the parallel line. You see that? So if I was to slide these four things down, the I and the E would be in the same relative position. And that relative position is exactly it. So I and E. Again, notice I'm not going super into detail on that, but I'm just giving you just enough to know why that would be the case, right? Now I wouldn't probably actually put a plus there. I would say I and E, right? Be really clear that I'm not making some mathematical thing there. Okay, excellent. Now let's keep going. Next one was vertical angles. So again, we should know from the past, right? And you can check out the video definition, vertical angles, angles across from each other. So I'm going to give one example of two angles across from each other at an intersection. Now by across, I mean they need to be the congruent angles on either side of the intersection, right? Like that. So C and F, both vertical angles, right? I can tell at a glance that C and E would not be vertical angles because they are supplementary, right? One is obtuse and one is acute. But vertical angles are congruent, so that would not be it. That's just one example. I could have also done E, D, G, G, J, I, H, lots of options. Alternate exterior. Okay, so now we're getting into some of the vocab, right? I need to find a pair of parallel lines, which I can find, there's three to choose from. I'm going to choose the one in the middle and the one on the right, okay? Now I need to find exterior, that means they're on the outside, so say I, J, C, and D, and then they're alternate, so they're on opposite sides of the transversal. So I could go C and J, right? That one would be fine. Or I could do I and D would be another possibility there. Cool. Okay, good. Pretty quick, right? Next up, I need to do alternate interior. That's very similar, but now it's on the inside. So I'm going to do, just to shake things up a bit, I'm going to go A and D. See how this parallel line here and this one here are going on the inside of them, opposite sides of the transversal, right? Now, when you're doing this on a test, remember, you can have your notes open, right? So I don't need to remember all these definitions. I just need to know how to see them and understand them, right? If the definition doesn't make sense to me, then it doesn't do any good. But if I understand the definition, I can just look in the picture and see where those angles are that meet the definition. That's why I'm not going into super much detail about it, because I just have my definitions open theoretically, right? And I'm just looking at those. All right, now consecutive angles. Consecutive angles. What do we got for that? Right. Well, I'm going to look around, and consecutive means it's like the stapler. Do you remember that one? It's like a U shape. So if I find a U shape like this, it's the two angles that are next to each other in the U shape. E and G in this case, right? Now, these are supplementary. They're going to add up to 180. And we like this consecutive angle relationship or same side interior, makes it a little easier to see, right? Because it's a very common relationship in the real world. B and G. Okay, next up. We got same side exterior, very similar, right? They're on the same side of the transversal, but they're both exteriors. That would be, let's see here, not E and I, because E's in the interior. See, I messed up there, but C and I could work. Or I'm going to go D and J because DJ, right? It's kind of a fun one. Excellent. And then a linear pair. Linear pair is another one of those reviews from the past, right? We added a couple of those so we can try to remember at the start of the unit. A linear pair is any two angles touching each other that form a straight line when their angles are put together. So they've got to be supplementary, got to form a straight line. Well, luckily we got a lot of straight lines here, right? All the parallines, all the transversals. I'm going to go, what are some letters that seem a little unloved? B hasn't shown up yet. So what's a linear pair with B? Well, that would be A. Very convenient. There's only one answer there, right? But I also could have gone for like C and E or H and J, you know, lots of options there. Okay, so again, goes pretty quick, right? We got all our definitions down. Let's keep moving. What do we got next? Well, we got to find all the angles. Oh, that looks like a lot to find, right? But you'll also be surprised how fast it goes. So let's try do it. We got A is 57. I'm just going to replace these with things I know. K was already given to us up here with this 90 degree sign, but now we are just straight told it's 90 degrees. If this is 57, what's B? Okay, what's C? Well, let's use what we know. 57 and B, that's a linear pair. So they're going to add up to be a straight line or 180 degrees. So B is 180 minus 57, and that's going to be what? Well, 57, 180 minus 57 is 180 minus 50, that's 130. 130 minus 7, that's 123. Right? Now notice I'm giving you an angle measure. I actually probably should have put M's in front of these. That's my bad, right? But the equal sign tells me I'm probably looking for measurements. But that is my bad. These all should have had M's. I think they disappeared off the file or something like that. Okay, so what about C? Well, C is an alternate interior angle with B. So it's going to have the exact same angle measurement as B. I also could have seen C as being a consecutive angle relationship with A, which still would have made it 123 degrees, right? D is alternate interior with 57, and D is a linear pair with C, which makes it 57, right? E is corresponding to A, as we established before, right? So that means it's also 57 degrees. F is a linear pair, so that one is 123 degrees. Do you see what's going on? Most all of these are either 57 or 123, really fast, right? G corresponds to C, so that one's going to be 123 degrees. Also, it's alternate interior with F. H is a linear pair, alternate interior with E. That makes it, you got it, 57 degrees. You'll notice in the picture, all the ones that are 57 degrees so far are the ones that are acute, and all the ones that are 180 degrees so far are the ones that are obtuse. So it's a very quick way, and I'm going to use that for I and J. I is acute, so that's going to be 57. J is obtuse, so that's going to be 123. Boom. Now, L and M are different. Notice they are not within this relationship of parallels and transversals, right? They're forming a triangle up here. So I need to use that to figure them out. There's other stuff going on here. I have I, right? I was 57, but I don't have L and I don't have M. Luckily, however, L forms a linear pair relationship with K. So L is going to add up with K to become 180. Well, K is 90. That means L is also 90 degrees. If this is 57 down here, and this is 90 degrees up here, what is M? Well, I need to add up the three angles to figure this out, right? And I know that 180 degrees is the total sum of three angles in a triangle. So I've got 90 plus 57 plus whatever M is, right? Well, I'm going to take away the 90. I'm going to take away the 57. And I'm going to get left with M. Right? I'm going to get 180 equals, or sorry, not 180, 180 minus 90, which is 90, minus 57, which is 40, and 33. 33 degrees equals M. Right? Or the measured angle M, 33 degrees. Boom, really fast, right? Once you got it down, it goes very quickly. And again, I know I'm going fast, but that's because if you watch the videos that we did on parallel transversals, I go through all these relationships we just used, right? So when I say something like vertical angle, alternate interior, alternate exterior, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? And in fact, even up here, you can see those relationships that were already given to us. And I made sure that I covered pretty much every letter up here. I think I got all of them, right? So by using these relationships, I could get all of them down here. except for L and N, but you'll be able to get those too. Okay. So I hope that helps. Again, you do not need to worry about retaking this version anymore. It's not available now. You have a new, simpler version of the retake, but I thought a lot of people would appreciate this. It seemed to stump a lot of people. A lot of people really struggled on it, I think. Didn't see a lot of people turn it in. So I hope seeing me go over it and show you that it was actually a lot faster than it looks like. Even though you're asked to find so many things, it actually goes very quickly once you got the hang of it. Shows you how capable you can be when you got this stuff locked in. All right. So look forward to seeing you in the other videos, hopefully, and make sure to check out those past videos on all these example angle relationships and how to use them to find the angle measures like we just did. Have a good day.